All right, welcome, welcome, everyone and all to episode 1000. Yep, it's our 1000th episode, minus one of the zeros. It's a very special day. We're going to be talking about nothing. Nothing.
Otherwise known as Star Wars.
Star Wars is nothing. Star Wars is nothing to me. No, there's not much to talk about, but we're going to talk. Star Wars pretty much doesn't have anything going on. We made a video. We haven't edited it. We haven't put it out. We probably won't because no one even cares about Star Wars. But the Mandalorian movie will actually be the last installment of The Mandalorian. There's not going to be a season 4 TV show or season 5 after the movie. So that's interesting. I just think they're trying to move on. They've been trying to move on for a while now. I think this movie is just going to really kind of hand off to the, Heir of the Empire, kind of a culmination of all of these series put together, which was always their plan. I just think they're kind of doing it now. And that's fine. I mean, that was kind of the point of the Mandalorian series to begin with. It was never really meant to be like their giant TV hit. It was meant to kind of set things up. And it's done a pretty good job of that so far. But unfortunately, it's like their only thing positive going for them. So we'll see how they kind of turn going forward from there to make improvements. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I don't know. I've said it a couple times, but it is kind of being rumored around the mills that Kathleen Kennedy will be out at the next Star Wars celebration. Like that's kind of like where her chapter ends kind of zone. It's not been confirmed, but it looks like that's kind of where they're heading. That's just a lot of rumors I've been hearing, in the X space by a lot of leakers and relatively reputable sources. So that's something to keep in mind, with, the cancellation of Mandalorian is we don't really know what we're going to be seeing really at all moving forward after 2025. So there's that. There's really not much else. There's not even like really anything going on. We have Skeleton Crew coming at the end of the year. We know we're getting Andor season 2 probably summer next year, and that's really all we have. So that's fun. Star Wars is great. Lego Star Wars has been pretty rough this year. It's been like one of the worst years, like expense wise. Everything is so expensive this year. So I don't know, man. It's been a rough year to be a Star Wars fan. Marvel, on the other hand, I'm super excited about. I don't know. I've always liked Marvel, but I've always felt like it was a little too surface level. Like they didn't get too nitty and gritty. That's why when they got to the Infinity War Endgame era, that was like my favorite era because it was like that was like the deepest stuff that they really got into. Right, I enjoyed the other stuff too, but like it all kind of became the same, and it looks like they're kind of going back to that nitty gritty stuff, which I personally super enjoy because that's just like the funnest time as a comic fan to see that stuff that you read about comics that was so deep that took tons and tons of different volumes to cultivate this giant story. It's cool when they can put it on screen. It doesn't happen very often because a lot of the Marvel stuff is very basic. It's very cookie cutter. And I get they kind of have to do it, A, to set up stories, and B, because not every story can be this crazy in depth. You've got to have some build up, and B, not everything can be the same. So you got to have different formulas for different stuff. But I'm super excited about Marvel. I think Marvel is right now like the biggest thing I'm hyped for when it comes to like cinema and like different IPs. We made obviously our big Halo videos on both Halo channels, so that's pretty awesome too. But like we're not going to see any results from any of that kind of stuff for years to come. I mean, 2026 at the earliest. Right, not going to see anything next year, and that's a whole year away, right?
And 2026 is probably going to be a remaster of CE is the first thing that's going to come out.
Right. So it's just I don't know. I wouldn't say like being a nerd is dead right now, but like there's definitely it's not as exciting as it was 4 years ago, right? Or 5 years ago. There's a lot more stuff to be excited for then. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of bland for a little bit going forward, with the exception of Marvel. But I mean, if you see our Halo video recently, Halo's taking a turn for it looks like the better, and if all goes as what the rumors are showing, Leslie changing jobs or being gone, being taken away from her position, and someone else being thrown in there. Leslie Headland. What's her?
Kathleen Kennedy.
Oh my gosh.
Leslie Headland did the Acolyte.
Yeah, my bad. Kathleen Kennedy. Sammy butchered her name first. I butchered it really bad. Anyways, she gets taken out of that her position, and all that happens. Then it looks like Star Wars will be taking a turn for the better, respectfully. And I mean, they're in a pretty slow pace right now, so they can work with literally whatever they want. So I mean, it seems like it's a sucky break for nothing in those two IPs for a while. Nothing big, at least, but at least they're moving in the right direction. It appears, because what Star Wars has been doing for the past 3-4 years, there's been some good, but there's been a lot of mid to below mid.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't know, man. I haven't really been gaming either. Like, there's nothing really fun out right now. Gaming's kind of, I wouldn't say dead, but like there's nothing crazy big out right now. So I don't know. It's weird. It's kind of a weird zone. I feel like for the last 4 years, it's almost been spoiled. It's like the amount of stuff we've been getting out. One of the complaints was you guys are putting out too much, and it's showing because the stuff you're putting out isn't good. Right? Like it was just like formulaic and all the same, and sometimes it was worse. Sometimes it was bad, right? And now they're like, okay, they're taking their time, but because of that, we're going to be getting a lot less content no matter what. I mean, like I mentioned, I'm excited about Marvel, but we're not going to get an actual Disney Marvel movie until February of 2025. We have Venom coming out at the end of this month, but that's probably not going to connect much to the MCU. I know there's supposed to be some stuff with like Noel coming in, but like how much is really going to be set and cemented in this big Secret Wars, Doctor Doom, all that stuff? Probably not much, right? Probably none at all, if anything. Maybe a small little nod, but nothing's really going to pick up until February, and that's 4 months out, right? So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, Lego Star Wars is always fun. I got to say, Lego Star Wars has always been like one of the big things I love, because there's always something new around the corner. There's always something to be excited about, because Lego Star Wars sometimes does crazy sets out of nowhere. I mean, if you had mentioned last year that I was going to be getting a Darth Jar Jar, I'd be like, what? Are you insane? But now I got Darth Jar Jar, and I'm already ready for the next thing. Like, I moved on. Like, they're perfect at, streamlining the next thing.
Yeah.
And I appreciate about that. But like I said, unfortunately, Lego Star Wars is like by far the most expensive it's ever been, which isn't obvious because that's how inflation works, right? But two, it just feels like it's like absurdly expensive. When I first moved out and I was making minimum wage, I didn't feel like Lego Star Wars as expensive as it is now, where I have a house now and I have a family, like I have a kid now, and I have a much better job. I have a lot better of a job than minimum wage now, right? And I feel like it's way more expensive now than it was 3 or 4 years ago when I moved out. Like, it's just crazy how much it's gotten over the years. And that definitely sucks, because like I want to buy sets. I want to, eventually I would like to start doing reviews on almost every set every year. But like, buy a set full price and like sell it on eBay and not make any return, oh, it sucks. It blows.
Yeah.
Whereas like a year or two ago, you wouldn't feel as bad because it wasn't half your paycheck. You know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy how much this stuff costs.
Yeah, I mean, you'd get Lego sets and you'd be like an adult fan of these things, and you'd get some big sets that are crazy expensive that are really cool, and it'd be like this cool thing. But now everyone does that. So Lego will streamline these $100 sets that are cool. And sometimes they won't be crazy cool. They'll just be $100 sets with one or two things you like about it. And I mean, $100 is a new $60.
Like the set behind us, we just did a review. It's going to be coming out tomorrow. Keep an eye out for that. The Imperial Dropship versus the Rebel Scout Speeder. That's a great set. 2 battle packs kind of merged into one, but they're kind of a little bit smaller. Battle packs are supposed to have 4 minifigures. Each side has 3. And so it's kind of a small double battle pack into one, right? Kind of like the 501st battle pack we saw 2 or 3 years ago, and like the Clone Army versus Droid battle pack we saw at the beginning of this year. Those were both $30, and one came out this year, and it was $30. How is this one $40? You know what I mean? Like, that's like a $10 increase in 9 months. What are you talking about? That's crazy. If you wanted to say 35 because it's a 25th anniversary and the vehicles are a little bit bigger, I'm like, okay, I'll give you that. but $10 extra is just like they're just really scratching the bottom of the barrel, getting every penny out of the fans that they can. And I'm gonna be very interested to see how long this can last for Lego Star Wars fans, because eventually sales are gonna drop. People aren't gonna be willing to buy this stuff.
Yeah.
It people will hold up for it for a while, but eventually that will snap.
Yeah.
I mean, people do have a breaking point when it comes to sales and service and what they're willing to pay for what they're getting. And especially with like the clone stuff, people love the clones, but I mean, to say that the clones, I don't think that they're as terrible as some people think they are, but they are degraded from where they were 4 or 5 years ago. Like the printing is not as good, right? You're not getting the cloth, like the pauldrons, whatever. You're not getting those. You're getting those printed on. Okay, that's not good. That's worse. And B, the helmet holes are worse than they were. I know they didn't have them 3 or 4 years ago, but they are worse now than they've ever been. So all these things, and we're having to pay more. Eventually, people are like, "All right, that's it. I'm not going to do this." It will happen eventually. I'm not going to say everyone's going to stop buying Legos at once. I'm just going to say eventually Lego's going to see it like, oh, our sales aren't. We're putting these a little too high on the cost, and they're going to eventually, how long that will be, hell, might be a decade, but eventually they will kind of even it out. I'm like, all right, we're not going to raise it for another 2 or 3 years, which I pray for that day, because oh my gosh, Legos is the biggest. It's the biggest flame in my pocket. They've burnt such a giant hole in my pocket, bro.
Yeah, and it's a kid's toy. So I mean, I can imagine people who passively buy Lego for their kids every once in a while look at a store and they're like, "What are you telling me? That's $40 now?"
Yeah, I mean, I go to the Lego aisle every store I go to, because I'm always looking for like a good deal, a good sale, especially on sets I can like buy now on a good deal and sell in a year or two, or just something I might not have yet or whatever. And I'm not kidding. It's almost every store. If I see a mom with her kid, I will hear them say, "Nope, that's way too expensive," to like every set. And then they don't end up grabbing something. They just move to the next aisle.
Yeah.
Like every set. The only people I see buying sets are like people like me or like other like teenagers. Like it's not kids anymore, which is absurd. And the weird thing, it's Lego Star Wars. Like if you look at Lego Fortnite or Lego Marvel or Lego Harry Potter even, their sets seem a lot more fair in value than Star Wars. And I'm not just saying that as like bias, because I know I'm obviously a little bit biased. But if you look at it, it is very obviously kind of an upcharge just because of the name Star Wars.
Yeah, Lego Fortnite just released a few sets, and one thing I mentioned was these aren't poorly priced hardly at all. They had a Durburger set, which is tiny, but it was like $10.
Yeah, it was
like
really good.
Star Wars does not do that.
If you look at their battle bus set, that $100 battle bus with like 8 minifigures, that would have been $140, $150 if that was Star Wars.
Yeah,
like,
that would compare to the Imperial dropship, but then more minifigures.
Yeah, like it's not even close. So I don't know. Lego Star Wars is always fun, but it's been a rough year to be a Star Wars fan and a Lego Star Wars fan. But Marvel is eating up. I'm super excited about that. I can't wait to watch Venom. I watch all the Venoms in theaters. They're not really my favorite because I don't know. I feel like they don't really depict the true character of Venom in the best light. But they're fun enough that like I enjoy watching them. I've watched every single one in theater so far. Yeah, I watched the first one with a girlfriend. The second one, I think she was my fiance at the time, and now I get to watch the third one with my wife. So pretty fun tradition. And then I'm excited for Captain America: Brave New World, February. I'm just excited, man. It's fun. Yeah, it's not much else. 100th episode, streams. I guess that's good. I don't really know. It's probably bad that we're still doing this. I don't know why we're still doing this. This is probably a bad cornerstone to have hit.
100 streams and 101 viewers.
Yeah.
Not really.
No. Yeah, leave in the comments. Leave like the nastiest message. Make us hate us doing this. Just make us quit. Just leave like the nastiest thing for us. Yeah, so with that, we hope you guys enjoyed this. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. If you guys are listening in podcast, don't forget to hit that follow, download, and share. Helps out the pod. I know we haven't been uploading crazy on the podcast, but like I said, there's just not been a lot of stuff we've been making videos on. We've both been busy with the Halo channel, and because of that, Star Wars hasn't been popping off. We don't feel the need to push out content that just, is cookie cutter. We don't need to make videos you guys don't care about or things. So we're going to keep putting stuff out there, but it might be slow for the time being because Star Wars in general is slow right now. So just keep that in mind. We'll be back here again next week, Thursday, same time, 6 p.m. And with that, we'll see you guys then.
Peace.
You're supposed to get this.
What? This is your what? Oh.